Have you ever wanted to have a rustic stronghold that you could put on your game table? If so, this video is going to be for you. This is going to be Dungeons and Dragons Beginning Crafters Rustic Stronghold. Hi guys, I'm DM Dunn, and today I'm going to show you how you can put a rustic stronghold on your game table that any attackers are trying to attack will have a hard time getting through, or if you're inside defending, you'll have a better chance of staving off the orc attack or whomever's coming after you. So the idea is for this to be rustic, meaning it's going to not have brick walls or stone walls, but instead it's going to be made out of like trees and tree trunks and things like that. So what we're going to use, we're going to use an assortment of dowel rods, the different sizes. And the reason I want to do different sizes is because it's going to make it look a little bit more realistic if these are supposed to represent tree trunks versus having all of the same size, because that's kind of unrealistic. We don't have perfect lumber mills, you know, in these fantasy worlds, unless maybe you do in yours. The other thing that I want to do is, instead of having these just smooth and straight all the way, and instead of trying to get like a knife and trying to cut it or sand these down, we're going to use the trick that I used on the trees, and we're going to put the hot glue on there to simulate the rough bark and texture of the tree. And so that's what we're going to be doing. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with some of these dowel rods. Now, how long do you want your wall to be? Do you want to build like one structure that has all four walls? I don't think so. Instead, you want to make it modular. So depending on if you're going to use like a big battle mat, or if you're going to be using dungeon tiles, maybe you want to do these in different things. For example, most dungeon tiles, a lot of people use 3 inches by 3 inches. So maybe you want to make your walls in 3-inch segments, but you can make multiple of these walls, these tree walls, that you can put them and make them as long as you want. Or maybe if you're using just a battle mat, maybe you want to make them 4, 5, or 6 inches long, but I recommend picking a size that you want and then making multiples so that you can make it adjustable, and then of course you can bend them around to make the corners as well. So this way it makes it modular and versatile, and that's what we're looking for when we're trying to make these crafts. Something you can make one time and use it many times. So I'm going to make mine, I'm going to go ahead and make mine 4 inches wide, and I want mine to be tall enough that people can be standing underneath there like a mini, and then there's going to be another level that another mini could be standing on and hiding behind the wall. So I'm going to make mine 4 inches tall on the tallest part, so it has 2 inches for these guys to be underneath there, and then 2 inches for the other mini, but their heads will be covered. So what I will do is I will make some of those thicker ones, where the thicker tree will be, probably a little bit lower, maybe only 3 inches. And then that'll be a gap in the top where somebody, you know, with a bow and arrow can come through and use that as like an arrow slit, but it'll just be one post that's shorter. So most of them will be 4 inches tall. A couple of them will be only 3 inches tall, and then I'll also be able to put a platform so people can stand up on top. And it also has taller walls, and it makes it a little bit easier to defend. So I'm going to go to the low camera, and I'm going to try to do this in fast forward so you don't have to watch all of it, but that's why I explained what we're going to be doing. So here we go. Okay, so now we've got enough pieces cut. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take the same cutter that I was using, and this is a pretty handy tool to cut these big wooden dowel rods. Just a couple of squeezes and it pops it right off. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take one of the ends of each of these pieces, and we're going to try to cut at an angle to create a sharp point. If you prefer to get a sharp knife and just kind of like you were whittling away on the rocking, on the porch in a rocking chair, you can do that as well too. Whatever works best for you, but we want to have basically a sharp point on all of the tops to make it look more menacing. So here we go. So now that we've got all of the tips cut, what we're actually going to do now is we're going to put some of the tree bark on the outside edges. Then what we're going to do is then we're going to go ahead and butt them all together. So first, let's put some tree bark on each of these pieces. Okay guys, now we've got the pieces of trees cut to size, now we've got them sharpened, and now we've got the bark or the hot glue texture on all of those pieces. So now it's long enough to dig a 4-inch long section of wall that I wanted to do. So now the next step is we're going to line them up, put the short ones where I want them, and then we're going to go ahead and try to attach them together. I'm going to try a technique that I haven't done before, but I'm going to hopefully see if it works with you. I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought for $1 a piece of glass. I do believe this is supposed to be like a trivet because it's got these little bumps, like a little hot plate thing. But I want to do this to where I can put the wall pieces standing up, and I'm going to put glue on the bottom of them kind of sloped out as if they were like stuck in the ground, and that's the dirt pushed up to it. And I want to use this as the base so that it can stand on your table. The reason I want to use the glass though is so that the hot glue, once it's dry, we can peel it right off, and now we've got a wall that will stand on its own on the gameplay. So we're going to test it and see if it works. Looks like we got it started there pretty good. So I was lining this up on the lines on my cutting mat to give me something to go with. So next, while this is drying, or after this is dried, what we're going to do is we're going to put on a platform on the back, and we're going to be using popsicle sticks in order to do that. So we're going to get ready to do that. What I'm going to do is just cut the rounded tips off so that it looks more just like lumber that might have been milled. I'm not going to worry too much about trying to distress this or make it look old and medieval. but that's something that you could do if you wanted to. Okay guys, we're back, and like I said, we got this thing spray painted basically with a base of black, and I've said before, you can get this cheap spray paint at Home Depot for, or at least at my Home Depot, I was able to find it for 99 cents. However, you do have to look for it because they hide it either on the bottom shelf or on the top in a really small section amongst all the other cans of paint. They're like $5 a piece. So get the one that has the matte or the not shiny lid versus the one that has the shiny lid. I've made that mistake too, but for 99 cents it wasn't worth taking back. So this is what I like to use when I'm basing anything black. So pretty good and cheap way to get that. Now the next thing we're going to do is just use some inexpensive craft paints that you can get from like Walmart or anywhere like that. These are apple barrel. These little bottles only cost I think 50 cents a piece, and then you can get a bigger version for like a couple of dollars. So we're just gonna start with just a couple of colors. We're gonna start with a really dark brown. This one is called Burnt Umber, and we're just gonna kind of give it a quick shake, and we're just gonna slop this on. We're not gonna worry about being too careful with it, and we're just going to grab just any old kind of regular inexpensive brush as well. Once this dries, we can go in with a lighter color. This is called Nutmeg, so compared to the Burnt Umber, you guys can see that this is a little bit of a lighter tone. And we're not going to do as heavy of a coat with this, however, we're still going to put quite a bit. So now this is still drying, but for all intents purposes, you could call this done and move on to the next segment. However, if you are going to be making multiple of these, which I do recommend, I'd recommend kind of do it like assembly line. So cut like all of your tree branches, you know, a lot all at once. Don't just do one 4-inch or one 3-inch section at a time. And that way you can kind of get through it a lot quicker. But this could be done if you wanted to. A few other things that you could do is you could do yet another lighter coat of brown to put some more highlights on it. Once this is dry, do a dry brushing, which would make it look nice. And now for the bottom down here where the posts are down into the ground and coming out, depending on what map you're planning on using, you can either put some white like school glue, that PVA glue, and then put some what's called flocking, or you could just kind of like try to paint it green or a different color, tan or brown, depending on what kind of dirt that it's going to be sitting on. I mean, you could just leave it just like that as well. But if it's going to be grass, you could put some little grass and some grass tufts on there as well also. So another quick thing is, instead of just painting right on my cutting board, I've learned, because the paint can stain, so I got this, and what this is, again at the Dollar Tree, this is just a cutting mat, and for $1 you get 2 of these. And so I just use one of these when I'm painting. I did try using a piece of it for a craft at one point, so I just cut a little piece out and tried to use it for, like, I think it was like a window in a house or something like that I didn't want you to like clearly see through, but anyways. So just using as many things as you can possible, but hopefully you saw how easy it was to just kind of just throw this together. I wanted to show you something not complicated that you could do. However, there are many complicated things that you could do to add on to it and improve it. One thing, you can get just like a really easy ladder. And again, this is just popsicle sticks. And the popsicle sticks were just kind of clipped to a point. And then little pieces of popsicle sticks were glued in between two of them and makes a little ladder. So now your people have a little ladder to get up to that section. So guys, do us a great big favor, hit the thumbs up, like our videos, comment if you can. We love to read all the comments as well. And if you want to be a subscriber, that really helps us out as well too. And if you want to continue to help us out, hit our Amazon affiliate link below. It'll take you to Amazon, and then that way whatever you get from Amazon, we get credit for sending you to there, and that does help support us as well too. We'd also love for you to become a Patreon, and that just gives us a monthly donation to help us continue to try to get content like this for all of you guys out there. So thank you guys so much, and until next time, have more D&D fun with DM Done.